Good evening, everyone. I am Sheila, and I am the host in Essence and You, and I have the most awesome, beautiful, wonderful, ecstatic guest in the universe to me, and this is Abiola Abrams. Hello, my goddess. How are you?
Hello, my goddess. I am great. And I love, love, love. I love that you have your name on screen and it says, I am Sheila. Yes.
That's right. That's right. I wonder where I got that from.
Yes.
Would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am a New Yorker born and raised. I am the daughter of two kind of cool folks who luckily are still here. I am the mother of the most amazing, perfect, magical little toddler that there is. And I am an Oracle Creatrix, international retreat leader, best-selling author, and course creator who focuses on bringing our ancestral divine feminine wisdom back for healing, empowerment, and manifestation.
Oh, beautiful. Well, I'm going to tell the audience how I came across you.
Okay.
I was on Facebook and your retreat came up. It was a manifestation retreat. And I said, well, you know what? I'm going to do that for my birthday. I had no idea what to expect. I had, I was just going to go. And I did. And that day, travel day, was the worst snowstorm ever.
Ever.
Right? Ever.
Ever. Especially in the South.
Ever. Yes. Oh my goodness. And it was in the mountains. It was a beautiful location. But let me tell you, everyone made it. And when I say treacherous, it was treacherous.
Yeah.
Flying in, driving, no matter how you were getting there, it
On a
was bad.
mountain. And we
Yep.
were on a mountain during a snowstorm in
Yep.
Boone, North Carolina.
Yep. Boone, North Carolina. And everyone made it. That was special because once you got into the room where we were at, all that energy, all the sisterhood, all the togetherness, all the love just came together like we were all meant to be there. And that was the most beautiful, awesome thing. And that was something that I would never forget for the rest of my life. And I thank you for that because you made it wonderful, beautiful. You were patient. There was no egos, there was no nothing. Everybody was just, hey, we're
We're
here.
here.
Yep,
Yes.
we're here. And it was a beautiful, beautiful weekend. It was totally awesome. Totally
Oh,
awesome.
thank you for that, Goddess Sheila.
Mhm.
I really appreciate that. It was a very magical weekend, and it was my first American retreat. And I was like, okay, it's going to be in the winter. I'm not a winter person, so having it in the South seemed like, oh, okay, a no brainer. When they reached out to me, that retreat center, because I was like, okay, it's in the South, so in January
Mhm.
it's going to be warm. I can leave up north, go get some sun, and hang with my goddesses and having an amazing time. And it wound up being this snowstorm. But the incredible thing is, as always, it was exactly what we needed it to be. And
Mhm.
something really powerful happens at each and every retreat where the women who are assembled, the women who choose totally separately from their separate lives to come together, are exactly who need to be there at that exact time and
Mhm.
with the exact sisters that are there. And it wouldn't have been the same without anybody. Like everybody was essential. And for you specifically, you just have the most beautiful essence and beautiful power about you. And I told you that. I remember telling you that,
Yeah.
and noticed like right away, like on that first day when everybody came in and the snowstorm and all of that, like you had this buoyant, jubilant energy, not the, I've been traveling all day and I'm over this energy. You had this beautiful, uplifted energy, and it's infectious. So thank you for that.
Oh man, would you mind telling thank you. Thank you. Would you mind telling us how you got started?
Sure. So there are many different levels of getting started. Once you've been grown, living on in the world
Mhm.
for long enough. So I would say professionally, getting started, there were many different levels, many different times and spaces. So I think one of the ways that's most powerful for me to talk about is in terms of doing goddess work and bringing
Mhm.
forward, the energy of the goddess and the teachings around manifestation and all of that. And so when it comes to that, I was a recent college grad around the turn of the century. We dating ourselves here around the turn of the century.
Oh, you did go there.
A long time ago, for those of us who, remember 9/11 and that time period and all of that. And, it was very interesting. At that time, came together with another powerful sister that I know, and we wanted to create an empowerment show for women that would also be a town hall where we could talk about our issues and the things that we are interested in. And I had another name for this mission when I, came together with this other sister. Her name is Antoy Grant. And I had another name, and then someone said to us, well, what about goddesses?
Mhm.
And I had already been doing things that were around empowerment of women as a young girl at that time, and I hadn't thought about what it would mean to be a goddess. And so I was like, wow. And I started to delve into that. I had already been interested in Yoruba philosophy, Yoruba spiritual philosophy, learning about it from a very early book by Ian Levinsant that's not even in print anymore, and all of
Mhm.
that. And that show ended up being an off Broadway show named Goddess City that ended up traveling the country, and in a way, like almost like Forrest Gumping our way through like the black empowerment world at that time. And we had incredible people like Amiri Baraka,
Mhm.
and just all kinds of incredible human beings noticed our work and noticed my writing and noticed my voice and Antoy's work and her voice and her writing. And at the same time, I was still figuring out my life, obviously, as a young
Mhm.
woman. And I started to hold gatherings in my living room in Harlem, in East Harlem, what they were calling Spanish Harlem at the time, in East Harlem and the El Barrio, called Goddess Circles. And again, I was still figuring it all out. I was holding these goddess circles and having, sisters gather, and not from a point of I got it all figured out, but from a point of let's figure this out. Let's figure
Mhm.
this out. Like, I don't know what this is going to be. I don't know what this is. There was no template for it. There was no, even I remember at the time, people were very like angry and confused by using the word goddess, which is funny to think of now. But at the time it wasn't a thing. It's interesting, to see the evolution. I remember people being angry, like, how dare you as a young girl? I remember at the time, um, we had this hotline phone number, which was the equivalent now of like us being able to, get together and have, in our groups, say on my app that's coming up, the Spiritualista app. At that time, it was a hotline phone number, and you could call the hotline number and, whatever. So I remember that, and then we would chat about it online and stuff like that, but it was nowhere near this. Like, it was like Black Planet was like, I was like a big early Black Planet person in MySpace and all of that. And I remember this woman left us a very nasty message where she said, who do y'all think that y'all are? She said, your boobies, she used a different word, but she was like, she said, your boobies haven't dropped yet. So y'all can't be talking about you this and that and whatever. And I was like, wow, like it's a very interesting thing that, just when a woman period says, I am me, the people that have an opposition to it for no reason.
Mhm.
No
Mhm.
one standing in your power takes nothing from anybody else. And we even had an experience where I didn't talk about until last year. I only mentioned it for the first time, where a Black elder who I very much love and respect, and I'm not going to mention her name again. I did, just in this one instant, where Antoine and I were doing a slam poetry thing, and we came dressed sexy and just feeling ourselves. I had our blowout hair laid for the gods and all of that. And she, insulted us like somebody who we admire, insulted us. She was there as a friend of Amina Baraka, that's Amiri Baraka's wife, who is a poet and amazing person in her own right, and was very supportive of the work that we were doing and invited us to our home, to their home, and they had a home theater and all of this, and let us perform Goddess City, which was the work that I was doing at that time, in their home, in their backyard, for their friends. We met a lot of folks through them. We met the great playwright August Wilson, and all of these people. And this Black woman poet who is phenomenal, and I still love her, like basically made fun of us, like mocked us, like mocked our sexuality and sensuality and all of that. And I think that unfortunately, that is a thing that does echo through people's micro experiences as young Black girls growing up, where people, that they're the language around like being a fast girl, and,
Mm-hmm.
all of that stuff. And, the people not, when our bodies change, things that hopefully we can now, as a generation moving forward of, elder people, elder stateswomen, help to create a different world for those who are coming after, where young women can feel confident in their voice, in their beauty, in their strength, in their intelligence, in their power. So I don't know if that answers the question. Maybe like deeper than you were wanting to go, but yeah.
No, that was fabulous. That was absolutely fabulous. So I know that um well, tell us about your book, and then I'll get to the Faces of Oshun.
Yes. So,
Mhm.
From Imagination to Reality is my last book that I am so very proud of. It is, yes, 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 that's it there. It is a channeled work, meaning that it is a work where I am, downloading the energy and the information directly from spirit. And it's a book about manifesting. About 100 years ago in New York State, there lived a man named Abdullah, who was a Black Ethiopian rabbi who taught Christianity, mysticism, and manifestation.
Mhm.
And this man, to our knowledge, did not write any books of his own, but his students did. And he is, in many ways, the unknown father of manifestation and spirituality that we talk about now in our world. He's your favorite teacher's favorite teacher's favorite teacher's favorite teacher.
Mhm.
And it is my honor to have been able to take and distill his wisdom and have it be in a book where it is accessible and he gets his due. That I wouldn't say that he didn't get in his lifetime, because by all accounts, he got his due in his lifetime, but in our lifetime, for us to be able to pass down that knowledge. So I'm very proud of this book. And I actually have a sequel to it called The Divine Frequency that is coming out in June. And The Divine Frequency goes further. So this book is about the law of assumption, manifesting
Mhm.
with the law of assumption. The Divine Frequency goes into all of the universal laws, pulling in the wisdom from throughout the world, primarily indigenous African, Asian peoples throughout the world, and then teaching manifestation tools through the universal laws. So that's the sequel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't wait to get that one too.
Me
That's awesome.
too.
I don't know how you find the time to get all this done, because you're a very busy lady.
It's crazy. I don't know either. I don't know either, to be honest with you.
Oh, so you have a new Oracle deck. Would you mind telling us about that? Well, first of all, how many Oracle decks do you have?
Sure. So my published Oracle decks, I have at the moment three, and so I just completed the trilogy of the first three decks with
Mhm.
this deck, Faces of Oshun Oracle, that I am so proud of and has been already just life changing for me in working with this deck. And so I am so honored to share with you the very first deck was African Goddess Rising Oracle. And these are the first major published decks. I had indie published decks before then. I've been doing this a very long time. Not new to this, true to this. Yes, African Goddess Rising Oracle. And that is Oshun as well, who is on the cover of that deck. And then that deck begat the the Secrets of the Ancestors Oracle deck here, and that is Goddess Atabe, who is on the cover of that deck. And that deck begat the Faces of Oshun Oracle. And so these three decks together really are a transformational trilogy. Yes, a transformational trilogy for healing, for empowerment, for personal development, for manifestation, for diving deeper into yourself. Knowledge of self is really what it is about.
So who tell us who Oshun is.
Yes. So Oshun is a force of nature. She is an Orisha representing love, beauty, prosperity, and fertility. She is from a region that was originally known as Yoruba land. Currently, that region is primarily in Nigeria. But at the time of, when her knowledge started to spread by way of the transatlantic slave trade to the Western world, which most of us who are going to be watching this are in, it was known as Yoruba land. And that extended from Nigeria into the area now known as Benin, and then also into the area known as Togo. And originally, she was a minor Orisha who was just a very powerful but minor Orisha only in terms of how she was, where she was known, her scope.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She has the domain of the Oshunoshogbo River. And so through the transatlantic slave trade, all of us, her children who were our ancestors were kidnapped and trafficked, throughout the globe. She came with her children. Her wisdom came with her children. And she can be found teaching, empowering, spreading the glory and gospel of love, self-love, transformation, fertility, creativity, walking in your power, walking in your strength, are some of her light-filled aspects throughout South America, the Caribbean, Northern America, and, the rest of the globe now. And also now in Africa, on the continent of Africa, there are 54 plus countries in Africa in a much greater area than just Yoruba land. So she has the energy of healing mother. She also has the energy of divine feminine rage. She also has the energy of divine feminine transformation. And so this deck, Faces of Oshun Oracle, is about the different manifestations of Oshun, the different roads of Oshun, the different ways that she is being called forward. Her essence and her energy are evolving and expanding as we evolve and expand. And so this is what is the focus, the energy, the impetus of this deck.
Oh, that's so exciting. So
It is
exciting.
exciting. It
Oh
is
my.
exciting.
How did you cut how did you discover Oshun and all your decks all have such purpose and such meaning? Where did that come from within you? Where did that arrive from?
So I'm getting chills actually to think about it, because we were talking about my early experiences now. What year is this? We're in 2025. 25 years ago. Wow, which in my belly to hear it, I'm like, whoa, like
Mm-hmm.
like just um with wow, with getting to know Oshun. And I really feel like I knew her before I knew her. I knew her before I knew her energy before I had a name for her. I knew her before I knew her. So within the time and scope of knowing her as I know her, and as she knows me, I would have to say that initially, probably my very first encounter that I can remember knowing her name and learning about her was through, and I haven't spoken about this on any other conversation or podcast, so you heard it here first, was through this incredible teacher that I had in college named Chikwenwe. Oh, Miss Oguyemi, let me not mess your name up. Let me not mess your name up. Chikwenye Ogunyemi. My New York accent gets the best of me sometimes, even with, despite my best effort. Chikwenye Ogunyemi, who is a phenomenal teacher, a phenomenal scholar, that did not get the credit, that she deserved. And those of us who were her students, who were forever after transformed. And she is probably the first person that I learned about Oshun from on an academic level, to then be able to study her and go on a deep dive. And my sisters, who I was in undergrad with, in school with, were we were very much on a quest to find this diaspora knowledge, to find this ancestral knowledge. And it was a very different time to where now folks can
Mm-hmm.
just Google something, So, and the beautiful thing was, like I said, that I lived at the time in what was known as Spanish Harlem. And
Mm-hmm.
so being able to go into my local botanica and saying, to to Miss Sanchez, who ran it, Botanica was right there around the corner from the subway, right down from 106 in Park. You could get your candles and whatnot, go home and watch Free and AJ, and it was all good. And so being able to, from there, be able to have teachers who I could learn from, and be able to have, it's a journey that had many different layers and levels. Many different layers and levels. And again, it was a very different time, a time that, there probably will be never be another time like that, where it was learning in temples that were, in someone's home and living room. And, but the beauty of our time now, though, is that now we can extend beyond the living room,
Mm-hmm.
so now we can, so there was power in that, and being able to, to be in a living room and go deep. But there's power now in being able to create a global temple, which, as you know, is, what we have, and have a global experience
Mm-hmm.
where we are touching people. And I think uh, I've had contact with, and students with people everywhere except Antarctica, and be able to spread, her knowledge, her gospel, her teachings in that way. And it just really is, Oshun's energy is really powerful and transformational. I will share with you, there are things that just you have to just witness to believe. Like, you can't make this stuff up, as we say all the time in the
Mm-hmm.
oracle world. Yesterday I was leading this beautiful vision quest in association with a retreat center in Massachusetts named Kripalu. And by the way, I have a retreat coming up at Kripalu in June. Haven't put it out there yet, but that's coming up in June. It's on their website. So anyway, this beautiful Oshun Circle, this Vision Quest, it's going to be a 3-week experience, and it started yesterday. And I invited people to bring whatever Oracle deck they had access to, because being that Faces of Oshun has just come out, in some places, like in the UK, they're just getting it, or other places may not have it yet. So I said, bring whatever deck you have access to. And this one woman brought this deck that I cannot remember the name of. I will have to get the name of it. I think it was called something Forest, maybe Sacred Forest Oracle or something like that. And the
Mm-hmm.
card that she pulled was a B card with a number 5 on it. You can't make that up.
Mm-hmm.
That's the card she pulled. And bees are within the domain of Oshun. I will show you the back of. So here is what the back of the Faces of Oshun Oracle look
Mm-hmm.
like. It's a honeycomb. And 5 is Oshun's number. And so there's no way that, with human understanding, that you can orchestrate and create that this woman would have a deck that has a bee in it in the first place. And that in the second place, in an Oshun workshop, with this woman also knowing nothing about Oshun at all, having pulled that card. Human understanding cannot create that. And so that's what I love about, us getting to play with the divine and expand our consciousness, expand our self-love, expand, all of human consciousness really with what we are doing. It's really beautiful. You
Oh, like again, you can't make that up. You
can't
just
make that
can't.
up. You
You
can't.
cannot. And it's that's something that for those, I wouldn't say non-believers, or who thinks that
People are
oracle cards
skeptical.
or tarot is like of the, devil,
Right.
or
Yes, yes,
voodoo or something like
yes.
that. It's not. It's really
It's not.
within your subconscious, and then you just be once you do it and see how it see. I always say see how it rolls.
Yes,
Then you'd be like, oh my god, get out
yes.
of here. And again, you can't make it up. It just makes you go, oh my goodness, let me try
Yes,
that again. Something has to be. She has to be playing with the cards. But if
yes.
you're doing it and you're pulling it, how can anybody be playing with the cards?
Right, right.
I'm just saying.
Right. That's the beauty of Oracle systems. And I say the way that I look at it is that Oracle is a communication language, is a communication device between us and the divine, between us and ourselves, between us and divine essence, between us and the ancestors. It's a communication path. That's all it is.
Mhm.
It's a communication tool. And it is ancestral that we happen to have the capacity to be able to print paper and beautiful images and distribute them. But in our ancestors used bones and tea leaves and palms and the Bible and all kinds of ways and means of divination. So
Mhm.
we're not new to this. We are true to this. There's a divinatory practice, there's divination in every single one of the 54 plus countries on the continent of Africa. Every single one.
Mhm.
That is magical. So that says to me that this is sacred medicine that is meant to be a part of our domain.
Mhm. So I know you're short on time, but I just would love for you to pull a card so people can see
Yes,
how beautiful the card is. The
yes, yes,
cards
yes.
are. They're absolutely gorgeous.
Yes, thank you, goddess. Thank you. And actually, look, I feel called to just share this with you. I was using this earlier. This
Yes.
African goddess initiation is my first book with my current publisher, and it is a wonderful book to enhance your oracle practice, or if you're interested in and just getting involved in African spirituality, even if you are not a divine feminine person, it's still a beautiful book that can help you to know more, go deeper. Okay.
Right.
So you will tell me when, Goddess Sheila.
When?
Okay. All right. So right now, so I am shuffling. I will just show them so they can see. These are like, this is two decks put together. Okay. And she said when in between the two. So I am going to pull both cards up and let's see. And so oftentimes when you are doing a reading, you may pull two cards, or you may have a card that falls down, or if it's a single card reading, you may need clarification and you can pull another card. And I explain all of this in the guidebook for this deck, and all of the decks have guidebooks that come with them. So this is a very interesting reading. So we pulled two cards, and the first one I will show you is Oshun's third eye. Let me see if I can, so that we can see the beautiful artwork. Much love to
Mhm.
Goddess Destiny Powell, the amazing artist that I was honored and blessed to work with on this trilogy. Okay, so this is Oshun's third eye. And this card, number 35 for the numerology folks, represents intuition, insight, and vision. And then the other card is Oshun's cleansing rain. She's there in a honey rainstorm, representing emotional release, healing, and renewal. Now, at the time of this recording, we're going into the energy of the pink full moon, the pink full moon, which is a
Mhm.
very powerful energy of exactly what we are looking at, the energy of trusting your intuition and your guidance, and having the courage to let go of what's no longer serving, have an emotional release for your own healing and renewal. And so that's what our message is right now. And so if whenever you're watching this, there's a full moon coming up at some point in time. And so I want to invite you, who are watching this, to take this as a message to utilize this full moon to think about what's no longer serving you in your life and what you can gently release as easily as a summer rain. So that is the reading that came forward for us.
Oh, thank you, goddess. That is so beautiful. I so appreciate it so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And trust your intuition. Trust your inner guidance. Trust your
Hmm.
intuition. Yes.
And that's exactly what I am doing. I had made a decision, and the YouTube channel is born, and you helped me do
Yay.
that through the retreat, and
Yes.
it's just been
Yes.
a journey that I will continue and to grow and to serve, I would say humans,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
women, and whoever it touches. If it
Whoever.
resonates with
Yes.
you, then stay. If it doesn't resonate for you, you're just not ready yet, and
Yes.
you just keep going.
Yes. Yes.
Hmm.
Beautiful. Well, blessings on blessings on blessings on your vision and your channel. May your voice continue to echo throughout the globe and beyond. May all who come in contact with this gift of knowledge of self that you are putting out there be awakened to know exactly what they need to know. You are a blessing on this planet, and we are all better for this sacred container that you are creating. May it continue to grow and prosper and bring you love, bring you abundance, bring you riches, bring you prosperity, bring you joy, bring you passion, bring you pleasure.
Oh, thank you. I felt all that. Thank you, goddess.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Welcome. Keep
Same
out.
back to you. Back to you. And you kiss your baby for me.
I
So you could
will.
go, yeah, so you could go have your mommy time. I so appreciate your time, and I'm glad we finally got it together. We got it. We did
Yeah,
it,
we
goddess. We
did
did it.
it. And I want to invite folks, come hang with me at womanifesting.com.
That's right.
I've got a bunch of free stuff. If you go to the top of the menu, Goddess of Receiving workbook, and a number of other things. And I'm on social media at Abiola TV.
And tell them about real quick about your retreat coming up.
Yes. And so I'm having a goddess retreat that I'm
Hmm.
hosting in June. This is 2025 and at Kripalu in Massachusetts. You absolutely want to come through. This is the first time that I felt led to partner with someone, and it's going forward with this amazing spiritual teacher who teaches the Enneagram named Dr. E, Dr. Deborah. She writes about the Enneagram, Dr. Deborah Egerton, incredible human being. And come, I'm going to bring the goddesses. She's bringing the Enneagram, and it's going to be an experience unlike any other. You can learn about that by going to kripalu.com, or if you can just contact me on social media if you have questions about it. But I would love to see you there. If you are feeling a little bit of a nudge forward, then yes, this is for you. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do
Let's
it.
do it.
Hey, I recommend going to any and all her retreats that she has. You will I guarantee you will not be the same when you come out.
You will
And
not
that's a good
be
thing.
the same. Yes,
Yep.
yes.
That's a
Life
good
will
thing.
never be the same again. So,
Mhm.
yes, thank
Mhm.
you. Thank you for this opportunity, Goddess Sheila.
Thank you. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed Miss Abiola Abrams. She is my mentor, she's my bestie, and she's just my girl. She's just my girl. Thank you. Bye for
Thank you,
now.
Goddess. Bye.